Hi there. So today we're going to talk about the Ikebana Collage. The first step is designing your vessel. And a vessel is just a container, like a vase. And since it's not going to be the shape of a traditional vase, I'm just going to call it a vessel. And I'm going to select the shape of a rooster for my vessel because, as I mentioned, my grandmother had a big ceramic rooster in her house that I always liked, which now belongs to me, and I also have a variety of other rooster types of decorations in my house, and so it brings back a lot of memories of my grandmother, who was German-Hungarian, and I know the rooster doesn't symbolize anything specifically about Germany or Hungary, but it does remind me of my family and my grandmother. So I'm just going to use some line and shapes to draw this rooster, and I looked through the pictures I found here, and I just want a simple silhouette shape. And so a simple side shot. So let's go with I think this one. And I'll look at a different picture for the feet. Okay, so I'm just going to simplify it at first. All right, so I have my rooster shape here, drawn with contour line and shapes. And I'm also going to turn this into a vase that would stand up on a table by adding a base and some kind of opening that I could put my flowers in. So maybe right here could be like the opening. All right. So that was the first step. This is the first step. The next step is going to be to start my collage. And I'm going to use a piece of paper for the base. And I'm just going to use some kind of neutral background. And in this case, I'm going to cut up some text from an old art book. Don't spend a lot of time looking for your text. Just grab a book and pick a page that has some random text on it. And since this text doesn't fill my page completely, I'm going to cut up a couple pages. And now I'm just going to go get some glue to glue this down, plus some newspapers. You always have to work with newspaper when you're using glue. So, I'm going to pour a little bit of this, I called it glue, but it's actually not exactly like glue. It's not Elmer's glue. It's called Mod Podge. And the great thing about Mod Podge is that it doesn't make your paper bend and wrinkle so much. And you can use it to glue things. You can just cover your whole collage with this. And I'm just going to pour a little bit of it into a container that you can share with others. And I'm going to use a smaller paintbrush. It's a cheap paintbrush, and you want to make sure to wash your paintbrush really well because the Mod Podge will stick in it and never come out if you don't get it out while it's wet. I'm just going to apply some Mod Podge here. Get all the corners and everything. And I'm going to put my paper on here, and it doesn't have to be perfect because you are going to just turn this over and cut the extra pieces off that stick out. And there's a little edge here that's sticking up, so I'm just going to, don't worry about if there's extra Mod Podge sticking out, because we are going to cover the whole thing with Mod Podge as we go. If your hands are sticky, you can keep a wet paper towel at your table so that you have good craftsmanship and you don't get glue in places where you maybe don't want it. And I'm just going to cut this off here. While you're at it, make sure you put your name on the back. And I'm going to try to smooth it out so there's not too many wrinkles. You can also put another piece of paper on top and smooth it like this so that you don't smear anything or smear the ink from the text around. Okay. The next thing I want to do is I want to mark off my grid for my rule of thirds. So you're going to need a ruler, and you're going to measure. I'm going to make some tick marks. If this is 9 by 12, that means I'm going to just divide each side up into thirds. So 9 divided by 3 is 3. So every 3 inches I'm going to make a tick mark on this side, and also on the opposite side, every 3 inches. Then I'm going to connect the tick marks here. And it's okay if you see the lines in your finished artwork, but if you want to get rid of your lines in your finished artwork, don't draw them too heavy. I think I'm going to want to keep them, but I'm really not sure, so I'm not going to make them too... Oop. This side, this is not 9 inches long, it's 12 inches. That means 12 divided by 3 is 4, so every 4 inches I'm going to make a tick mark. And you want to be looking for the longest line here. That's where the 2-inch mark is, the 3-inch mark. So that's where you make your mark, your tick mark, at this long line. Okay. 4 inches and 8 inches. Going to connect those. Alright, so I can see these lines. It might not be obvious to everybody where they are, but once you draw your grid lines, to use the rule of thirds, you're then going to decide where you want to put your vessel or vase in here, and then you need to make your vase that size. So before we go on to the next step, we want to pick out our color scheme, and our color scheme is going to be limited to 2 colors plus tints and shades of that color. So I selected red as one of my colors, And I've got a few other red magazine pictures. And I'm also going to select blue. And it's, in my case, it's just random that I'm choosing these. You're going to want to look for magazine pictures that have a whole lot of one color on the page. So these two pages were full of blue, different tints and shades of blue. And here we have different tints and shades of red. So you want to look through magazines and get some color pages, as well as you can look through the box of papers and pick some of those. So I'm actually going to draw this rooster a little smaller. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold a piece of paper in quarters. And I'm going to draw it in one of these quarters because I think that that is about the right size to put in this area of my composition. I'm going to fit this rooster in here. It might not fit exactly. No, it won't fit exactly. I have to turn my paper like this. We're going to give more of a base here. Okay, that should be more of the correct size that I'm looking for. So let's see. That will be better. Because after we get all our flowers and things in here, it will balance out this shape here. I might just move it over here. Okay, so I found a paper in the scrapbook paper pile that I would like to use for my rooster. And the reason I would like to use it for my rooster is because the rooster reminds me of my grandmother, and my grandmother had an apron and also some wallpaper in her kitchen that reminded me of this. So what I'm going to do is, if I want my rooster to be facing this direction, and I need to trace it going in this direction, and I'm going to place it in a corner so that I can save the rest of the paper. Okay, so you should have seen it, received an email from me with some pictures of flower shapes. So I'm going to open that up. It's also listed under files on Plus Portals. And if you notice, there are some detailed drawings. These are botanical illustrations done by an illustrator of a variety of different kinds of flowers. And you'll notice that the shapes are very different even on the same kind of plant. You have some flowers that are open and rounder, and some flowers that are closed and kind of long like a teardrop, and the other shapes in between. This is some kind of seed if you feel inspired to use a seed. And then the plants have different kinds of leaves. Some are thin, some are wide. So look at the different flower types and decide what shape you want your flowers to be. We want to avoid simple daisy shapes that are kind of like cartoony and cliche. Try to pick, you know, something that has more character than just a plain old sort of generic looking flower. So I'm going to sketch the flowers that I think, different flower shapes that I think I like in my sketchbook. I'm going to choose 3 different shapes, and I'm also going to sketch the stems and the leaves just for practice. So, let's see. Maybe I'll just sketch some of these. And I'm just going to sketch a bud and a flower that's just open. One of the open flowers. Alright, so those are the 3 different kinds of flowers. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to draw some of these flower shapes on the back of some of my colors. Actually, so maybe I'll draw out the flower shape like this. And I'm going to draw different sizes. So maybe I'll make a small one, because I'm not sure yet what shape I'm going to want. Oh, darn. I want them to be, darn. Okay, I'm going to try this a different way. I'm going to cut out the colors. So now I have some nice colorful chunks to cut my flower shapes out of. I'm going to turn these chunks over. And this time I'm going to draw more flower shapes here. Oops. I'm going to draw on the other side, that's okay. And when I think I've got enough flowers, I'm going to go ahead and lay some newspaper down and put my collage over it and completely cover it with Mod Podge. Try to work kind of quickly because your Mod Podge might dry. By the time you're finished one side, the other side might be dry, so you do need to do it quickly. Okay, and that's the first step. So you notice I don't have all my shapes evenly spread out. I'm kind of drawing the viewer's eye around, and there's nothing major in the middle here. So I've used the rule of thirds to create an area of emphasis, and that will either be here or here. I'm not sure which place yet. Because I'm going to add more to it later. So that's it for now until my Mod Podge dries. So, enjoy!